We have no fly.
Hey-yo.
We're back. Can you hear us? Is it better?
We can just wait a few minutes to see if anybody's going to get on.
They really want to see us.
Yeah,
we really
they
want to talk to
do.
y'all. Hello? Anybody?
It might not even show us.
Let's see.
Oh,
We got one.
person.
Let's see. Somebody tell us if you can hear us. Natalie, okay, now you're watching. Can you hear us? Hey, is it better?
Can y'all hear us now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
How about now?
How about now?
What about now?
What about now? Hello. I really hope somebody can hear us.
Okay, good.
That's the difference between AT&T iPhone and an Android.
That's not an Android. That is an iPhone.
Now you know how we are.
Turkey. Okay. So as we were saying, I wanted to bring Sherry and Robin on, but unfortunately Robin is sick. So y'all have me and Miss Sherry, but I wanted to talk about sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever God gave me the sisterhood, I think it was last Tuesday, equally yoked was just in me and on my heart a lot. So I did a fight time with Derek and got the opportunity to actually talk about being equally yoked.
I have to ask something.
Yeah.
Am I better to be on fight time than Derek?
Yes.
Okay,
of
good.
course.
Good answer.
I love my husband, but I love my sister too. So I was curious to see what Google said equally yoked was, and it says to be paired with another of the same kind, same capability, and same general temperament in order to achieve a goal. So I want to look at this in a spiritual matter. To be paired with another of the same kind, to me, that's like, we're Christians, so for us to be paired together, we're on the same track and the same goal, which is to strive to be closer to Jesus Christ.
Right.
It is important for us to fill our circle with people we are equal to. We are all striving, or should be striving, for a closer relationship with Christ. I know without my sisters in Christ, I would literally be a complete mess. I go to my sisters for almost everything, right?
Yeah, we do.
All of my sisters.
All hours of the day, all hours of the night.
Yes, for any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself am super thankful for the relationships and sisterhoods that have been built on my walk with Christ. So, do you have anything that you want to share with the ladies?
I agree. I think when she was telling us, or actually, we'll go back to how this started. We were on one of our nights. Can y'all still hear us? It kind of like froze up on us. Natalie, can you still hear us? I don't see any comments, so hopefully we're still doing this.
Hopefully.
Somebody's trying to come in on us, so we don't know exactly what. But anyway, I can hear it. Okay, well, we got somebody. Okay. Anyway, when we were out on one of our outings, and our outings usually start off leaving my house and going to the movies. A lot of times we make it to the movies, and there's times where we don't even make it to Tyler without changing our plans and just giggling and talking. And I said all that because she said, I have fight time next. And why don't we do something about sisterhood? And anybody who knows me knows that I do not like to be in front of this camera thing. I like to be behind the camera making faces at everybody. And that right there just shows just how much I love you, because I'm sitting in front of a camera with you. The only other person I've ever done this with, well, other than Casey, is my daughter. And that's because it was Mother's Day and I wanted the attention. And I wanted everybody to see it.
Yeah. Well, I love you too.
But I love my sisters. I have my blood sisters. They're 3 hours away. They're in Houston. I am the oldest. And what's so funny is that I have two sisters. One is she's around the 40-ish age, and the other one's like in the late 30s. And let me tell you how God works. God gave me two more sisters here, And one of them is in her 40s. And this one, she's in her 30s. She's our baby. And we have to baby her every once in a while.
Yeah. Sleepy.
But I wouldn't change anything. God put us in the right paths together at the right time.
Yes.
We all needed each other, and we didn't even know it. We just started going to the movies one time, and I said, "Hey, anybody want to go to the movies with me?" And these two said, "I want to go."
The Chosen.
It was The Chosen, wasn't it? Yeah. You actually stayed awake that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. The first one.
And then we just started making it an every so many Fridays kind of deal. Their husbands never know when they're going to come back home. My husband works off, but their husbands, they're home, and they know that we're going out with the girls, and they're like, okay, we'll see you sometime in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because when I tell Derek I'm going with Miss Sherry and Robin, he says, okay, I'll be asleep when you get home.
The part where we're, the equally yoked, it stands out because we're not the same at all. She has a different testimony than I do. I have a different testimony than she does. Yes. My strengths may be her weaknesses, and her strengths may be my weaknesses. And he put us together because separate, we can accomplish a lot. But together, we fight and accomplish more than you can ever imagine. Right. She has just walked in here one day just to pick up something, and little did I know that she was having a bad day. And just hearing my voice later on, she told me, Miss Sherry and why she calls me Miss Sherry, I don't know. I guess because I'm older than her, I don't know. But
I'll tell you why I call you Miss Sherry after you finish.
Okay, after you tell me, because then I'm too old. I'll lose track of what I was saying, and I'll got to circle back.
Finish, and I'll tell you.
Anyway, she later on told me, Miss Sherry, I needed you because I was at a not a dark place, and I don't want to use that word, but I was at a low point, and she said, I just needed to hear my sister. And I had no clue that she was battling the day that she was having, but whatever I said was exactly what she needed to hear. And so we need sisters like that.
Yes.
You need sisters like that. Best friends. They don't necessarily have to be just like you or to, the where you work at, what you do. You may not have anything in common at all, but you have one thing in common. Make sure that they love like you. Make sure they believe like you, because you don't want to have someone who is completely opposite in a I don't even know what the word is, just opposite of how you're thinking, and it tears you away from what you were actually set out to do in your friendship, if that makes sense.
Right.
Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
Because you kind of threw me off telling me I was old.
No, I did not tell you that you were old, but you did make sense. So the reason why I call you Miss Sherry is because when I first started coming to church, I think I text Bree, and there was something, for the Fight Time Conference, I wanted to help volunteer, and she was like, you need to get with Miss Sherry. So from then on, I saved your name on my phone. It was actually Miss Sherry volunteer something, and now it's just Miss Sherry. So that's why I call you Miss Sherry.
Oh, well, okay. So I'm Miss Sherry.
Yes. So I believe that it is very important for us to have sisterhoods. Yes, I have Miss Sherry, I have Robin, but I also have a lot of other ladies here at the church that I can call on at any given moment, and different people for different things. If I'm battling something, just need to hear a voice, I might call Miss Sherry. Like the day that she was talking about, I think we went to Bible study, or this might have been a different day, but we went to Bible study, and after Bible study, we were in the kitchen, and she knew something was wrong with me. I was not acting like myself. I was a mess, I would say. And we got to talking, and I just started crying. She was like, come on in the office, because there's something wrong. And not only did she give me encouraging words, but she held me accountable for things because I wasn't reading my Bible like I was supposed to. I wasn't spending time praying. And that's another thing I feel like is important with your sisters, is that they can hold you accountable too. I know at any given moment, any of my sisters at the church, if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, or whatever the case may be, or say something, they'll correct me, and I like that.
Yeah, they have to be accountable. You have to be accountable for your sisters, your best friends, people who you want to always trust.
Right.
You have to trust that they're going to tell you exactly not what you want to hear, but what needs to be heard. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing, because we can all have these friends, acquaintances. And I used to tell my daughter when she was growing up, I said, well, that's not a friend, that's an acquaintance, and there's a difference. And she would say, no, they're my friends, they're my good friends. I'm like, no, they're not your good friends. They're just people you know. Mm-hmm. And she later on in life learned what the difference was. And I'm glad that she did, because I had to learn the same way. I had, growing up, acquaintances, but it wasn't until I got into church that I really valued friendships. Right. Because I've always just been a person who, like I said, I like to be on the back end of everything. I don't like to be in the front. And I'll do anything and everything for anybody. I just don't like the credit. I don't like to put myself out there. And so I would always have these friends that, okay, what can I do for you? And then go and blast what they did for me. And I'm like, that's not a friend. That's just somebody trying to empower themselves. But with my sisters here, we have a group, our CovLadies group, and I wouldn't trade this group in for anybody. Yeah, we have us three, but we're not that three and no more. We're three and whoever else wants to jump in the vehicle, or whoever. When we go on our ladies retreat, we have 70 ladies this last time. 70 ladies that just wanted to love on each other. And so I encourage you to find if you're not already plugged into a ladies group or a support group or anything, plug in. Right. Because you can find your friends there. You can find support groups. You can find people who you can call on no matter what time the day or night to be able to tell, and you can always trust that they're not going to go and tell anybody. Right. There's so many things that we have shared in the garage at my house at midnight, and we sit there and laugh about it, but it was just something that I needed to get out, she needed to get out, or someone, and it stayed there. But yet at the same time, they prayed for it. We followed all the way through to the very end, and it's just super special. I wrote what Google says a best friend is. Google says, and then, everybody Googles.
I do.
Just don't Google illnesses. I have to tell you something about that too soon. Okay. Is a person you value above other friends, someone you have fun with, someone whom you confide in, someone who is your closest, dearest friend. The person is someone you trust deeply, share your secrets with, and rely on for support and companionship. They often share a strong bond characterized by mutual understanding, honesty, and loyalty. And if you think about it, that's what we are. Yeah. And that's what our friends are. And that's what our CovLadies group is. Yes. We are zero drama zone.
Praise God.
I know.
Praise God.
I know. We have retreats twice a year, and we look forward to them because it's time for us to step away from all of the busyness and just become ladies with our girls.
Yes, and it is so special. I love our retreats.
And I also looked up some ways to strengthen a relationship to have a positive friendship, and it says communicate openly no matter. I would tell you to help me read this, but I'm sure you can't read my writing. Communicate openly no matter what the cost. Spend quality time together, and we do that.
Yeah,
we do that. Be supportive. Show appreciation even to the smallest things.
Yes.
And that's important. Just by sending a text saying, hey, thinking about you today, that's support. It's not necessarily buying things or, doing this. It's just a thumbs up, a small face, a goofy face. We send some silly things to each other. Respect your boundaries. Respect friendships' boundaries, because even though you're best friends or you're sisters in Christ, there are some boundaries that you have to know when to stop. But then at the same time, it's very tricky when it comes to boundaries, because our friend Robin, who is at home not feeling well, she likes to, and we can tell when she's battling some things. There's a difference between boundaries, and then there's also a point where people put up manual boundaries, if that makes sense. To me, a manual boundary is when I just set up something because I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to share it, not because I don't want to talk about it, because I don't want to hear what I don't want to hear. So boundaries, you have to respect boundaries, and there are some, but you also have to be in sync with your friend to know that if I can text Robin, and we can text her and we'll get yeah, I'm okay. Yes. And we tease her about that. It's one or two words, or they'll text me and I'm like, I'm making it. Well, right then and there, we know that those boundaries are out the water, because, okay, I'm going to keep texting you and asking you until you tell me what's going on.
Right.
And it may take text after text after text after text. And then the words start coming out, and then we're able to deal with it. So that word boundary, it's very tricky. But when you have a friendship like ours, we know, and we have learned in a short amount of time what those boundaries are. And we also know that, hey, it is okay for me to step on a toe to be able to get the answers out of her, or out of me, or out of Robin, or out of whoever, so we can deal with it. So we're not watching our sister sit there with a smile on the outside but torn up on the inside, because I don't want that. That makes me sad.
Right.
When you're sad. Anyway, share the same interests, resolve conflicts, and celebrate together. And we like to celebrate.
Yes, we do.
We love to celebrate. We like to play jokes on each other. Not too long ago, we played a joke on my daughter. We can't really tell you what kind of joke we played on her, but it was so funny, y'all. So funny. And if she's watching, she'd probably giggle. And if you want to know the joke, you can ask us sometime, and we can tell you.
Yeah.
But what I also want to talk about just a second is, you may say this now or wait till you get done? I'm like taking over your 5 times.
No, you're good. You're good.
I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Y'all, I'm actually talking.
I'm so proud of Miss Sherry. I'm so proud of you.
Hey, y'all don't get used to this, though.
Okay.
Y'all don't get used to this. Anyway, a toxic friendship. We have good friendships and we have strong friendships, but we also have toxic friendships that we have to watch for. And let me give you a couple of things just to keep in the back of your mind when you go to say, is this a good friendship or is this a toxic one? Constantly having negativity. If there is a constant source of negativity between you and that whoever this is, it's not good. And that friendship is not of God. If you're having lack of support, if you're always the one that you're supporting and you're supporting and you're supporting and you're never getting anything back, that's not a good friendship either.
No.
Manipulation. If you're constantly having to deal with that with anybody, that's not a godly relationship. Jealousy, competition. If you always feel like someone's jealous of the smallest, simplest things, or they're always questioning or one-upping you, or you go to Walmart and you buy this certain shirt, well, they're going to go to Target, and buy the same shirt, but they're going to flaunt it and say, hey, I bought this. And I mean, that's just not of God.
No.
Dishonesty. That's a big thing. You have to be able to be truthful with your friend.
Yes.
And you know that if they believe the same thing you do, no matter what the word is and no matter what it is, you can always be honest, and that's a true friend. But if you're constantly catching this person in a lie or exaggerating, that's not a true friend.
No, it's not.
And if it's a one-sided effort, where you're the one that's always constantly reaching out, you're the one that's always calling saying, hey, do you want to come hang out, or do you want to, do you want a coffee? You want to do this? And you're not receiving it back. It's not a godly friendship. Disrespect. If you ever have a friend who's just constantly disrespecting you or belittling you for their glory, that's not a godly friendship either.
Right.
And emotionally drained. That right there is a big one. I used to have someone who I thought was a good friend, but they were constantly just calling me with problem after problem after problem. And don't get me wrong, that is what your friends are for. But, big but, when you call on your friend to help you in a problem, you have to have a heart to be able to take what they give you. Mm-hmm. An emotional drain to me is this person was constantly just Debbie Downing. She was always having issues, and she never wanted to be happy no matter what it was. You could tell her that the sky was blue and there was sunshine. She would say, no, but it's raining, or and that is just, it was emotionally draining. I could not find my glory because I was automatically going to where she was at, and that was not good.
Right.
You have to smile.
Yes.
And you have to giggle.
Yeah. Just imagine what our friendship would be without giggles.
So that is what a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship is. So I challenge you to just go through your friend zone, friend box, whatever you want to call it. And some people call it a friendectomy. A friendectomy. I didn't want to make sure I said something right and not wrong. And if those friends are not of God and they're not doing the things that is right, just kind of can't be ugly, because that's not godly either. No. I don't even know how you would just say, hey, I don't want to be your friend no more. That's back like kindergarten days.
Well, that can lead us into the closing part.
That's right. Does this make sense to anybody?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Because it's good.
It's good. It's making sense to us.
Yes.
And we're inviting you into our circle, so it has to make sense to you.
I don't know exactly how long ago it was, but I think it was maybe a year ago, if not more than that. Bree had to step in for Casey's Bible study. I don't know if you remember that. And she talked about pruning or cutting away your branches in your vineyard. Mm-hmm. So to me, cutting away branches would be cutting away people, and your vineyard is your life. That aren't on the same path as you. Yeah. We all have worldly family and friends that we can love from a distance. I am one to say that I do have family and friends that I have had to learn, not that I don't want to be close to them, because I do want to be close to them, and some of them are friends from high school, but I see that the path that God has put me on, I can't bring them to me if they're not willing to let go of things that they have going on. Mm-hmm. So I wrote, sometimes we can't go into the fire and get them, but we can throw them a life jacket to help them out. Prayer should be our go-to with our lost loved ones and friends, and to be careful of who you let into your circle. The devil will use who we love the most to pull us down with them.
Absolutely.
It is okay to have healthy boundaries, and I'm glad you mentioned boundaries in a good friendship or relationship, because when Bree gave us that Bible study, there was a part in the Bible study that she said, let God elevate you, then go save the drowning ones. Boundaries, to have healthy boundaries, and it is so okay to have healthy boundaries. Mm-hmm. There was a person in my life that I let pull me down every chance that they got. Before I come to Christ, during my walk with Christ, and there was even a time where I felt like they were using me as their God. Mm-hmm. Instead of going to God himself and praying, they're going to come to me and give me all their problems. And I would text Bree, and Bree, what do? I just love them so much. I don't want to lose them. And, she gave me this, and she said, you have to have healthy boundaries. Yeah. So regardless of how much you love the person, if you know deep down in your heart that they're really not good for you and it's not somebody that you're equally yoked to, let them go. And I really don't know an easy way to do it other than to pray, ask God for the right words to be able to say, because we don't want to hurt their feelings or put them in a worse place than they already are in. And like Miss Sherry said, you can't just walk up to somebody and say, I can't be your friend anymore. Because to me, that's not godly either. At all.
The ultimate thing would be to bring them to our circle.
Right.
To be like us. But we have to also be very careful while doing that, because God is the ultimate only one that can actually change somebody. Mm-hmm. And prayer, we can't stress enough about prayer. Praying for who you think, praying for the lost person is a hard prayer to pray.
Yes.
It's also a prayer that takes faith. It takes commitment. And it takes a lot of sacrificing on your side, because you're fighting more than just one thing. You're fighting sometimes many spirits. You're fighting pride. You're fighting the unknown of being, not having knowledge of what God is, or who He is, better. So when you pray for that one friend that you just want to try and win to the Lord, you have to stay faithful.
Yes.
And that's just anybody. That's a family member. That's anything. I personally have had to pray, and it took me over 10 years. One of my biggest testimonies right now is I had to pray for my children. I had to pray for my son, and I had to pray for my daughter-in-law. And I prayed, and I prayed, and I fasted, and I cried, and I gave up. And then I prayed again. And he is now sitting at almost 3 months, maybe, of being faithful to church, being baptized, both his whole entire family. Mm-hmm. And I sit back sometimes and I think, and I know it's not my family and not my friends, but I say all this because if I would have gave up on him, then he would have never been where he's at right now, nor my daughter-in-law or nor my grandchildren. So never give up, because even those friends that may be toxic, those are people too. Those are souls, and we can pray for them in a distance, and once they come to where you are, God takes over. Yes, and he wins. Yes. He wins all the time. So,
and that's where reconciliation comes. I'm sorry, I could not get that word out. But so I want to challenge you ladies, everybody that's going to see this video either now or later, to evaluate your friendships and relationships and cut away the ones that aren't good for you, and for us to also pray that God would reveal who those people are. Yeah. And this challenge is for myself as well, not just, I'm not setting myself apart from anything that anybody else.
You're leaving, are you?
No, I'm not leaving you. God has not instructed me to do that. So, I hope that this all resonated with somebody, and that it made sense, and that it ties all in together. It's an honor for me to be able to come on live, and it's an honor for me to bring Miss Sherry on
It's
live.
an honor for me, because I love you, and I love my friends, and I couldn't do a lot without y'all, and I don't want to cry.
I love you too. Well, we're going to go to Tuesday Night Help Night. If you're around the Rusk area. It is not too late to get here. Classes start about 6:30. So come to Rusk and come to the church.
If you haven't plugged into our ladies group, plug in. If you haven't plugged into our ladies support group, plug into our ladies support group, because any given time of the day or hour, you can put a request on our support group, and I guarantee you someone is praying right then. And you may not even know who it is. Just put a request out there, and they answer.
Yeah, like 50 women.
Yeah. So you may not have. You may sit here and say, "I have no friends. I don't have any support at all." he is alive, you get onto our Cov page and support, and you put that request in, and I guarantee you we will be praying and lifting that particular request up.
Yes, we will. Well, I love you, ladies.
We love you.
And I pray that y'all have a blessed night. Bye-bye.